Hey guys, Sanctum here bringing you literally the strongest rogue build I've ever played. I mean, if I think about it, it literally might be one of, if not the strongest build of all time. I'm honestly really tired. I've been playing since launch, but I really wanted to get this guide up for you guys so you could enjoy it as much as I have. I mean, I've literally carried Ruse and Ace through World Tier 4 pits while they tried to follow me, just walking, while I moved and cleared all the mobs until I locked the boss, and they still couldn't catch up to me. That's how crazy this build is. I mean, you gotta play this. The build is Death Trap Rogue, and what do you need to start playing it? Well, sadly to say, you really can't level with it because you do need a few uniques. At the bare minimum, you need Ice in the Dark. You probably also want Scoundrel's Leather, and what really felt good to me at the start, because otherwise it can be a bit tricky to keep up spamming Death Trap, is the new gloves, Band of the Icarus, something like that. Because we can't really level with it, I might as well explain exactly when you can get into Death Trap a bit later. Let's start with the leveling. We level as Dance of Knives. I think no one's a stranger to this build. It's just the best rogue leveling build. One of the best leveling builds in the entire game. You move and you shoot daggers at the same time and everything dies and you don't stop. You don't stop for anything. It really is the best. So the full skill point order is in the Mobalytics guide linked below. But the general gist is that you get Dance of Knives, you get Dark Shroud, then you get Concealment, then Shadow Imbue, then Shadow Clone, and then eventually you put 1 point into Shadow Step because why not? You might as well have some sorts of Unstoppable, but you don't really need it. You don't use it much. And how does it work? Well, basically, there's a concept called snapshotting where on channel skills, which means a skill that you cast once and then you keep continuously, like you never stop casting it. There's some buffs which if you apply at the start of the cast, they just stay on the skill forever until you stop, basically. And the two most important ones are Concealment and your Imbuements, right? Concealment makes it so your Dance of Knights always crits, and always applies vulnerable. And Imbuements will obviously, you know what Imbuements are, but they also stick with Dance of Knives throughout its entire duration, right? So generally our rotation is Concealment, Imbuement, Dance of Knives, and you just spin to win. Literally, you just literally spin to win. And in the passive, you'll see we grab a lot of movement speed, and we try to get movement speed on our boots. And we get momentum, movement speed, because you need movement speed to keep rolling, right? To never stop rolling. Early on, we're gonna be using Shadow Imbuement because we like AoE, especially without the aspect of Star Shards, which give us all the AoE, honestly, on Dance of Knives. And later on, once we find aspect of Star Shards, we're gonna swap to Cold Imbuement because we just wanna potentiate our damage, And then the last skill I guess I gotta talk about is Shadow Clone. Shadow Clone is especially strong because it scales with your own damage, and then it gets multipliers on top of your own damage, right? And it does a lot of damage. Now there is one downside. Shadow Clone stops your snapshot, right? If you're spin to winning with your Concealment, with your Imbuement, and then you Shadow Clone, you stop all that. Now what you can do is you can use Preparation, right? So when you Shadow Clone, you reset all your cooldowns, and then you can re-snapshot your Dance of Knives, right? Because a lot of people have been asking me, why do you go Preg? I can't spend energy on Dance of Knives. Well, you don't spend energy, right? You just use it to reset your cooldowns when you Shadow Clone. Also, sometimes maybe you get knocked out. I mean, you get stunned, you get CC'd, you get knocked back, and you lose your snapshot. And then you can just Shadow. If you don't have Concealment up, if you don't have Imbuement up, you can Shadow Clone, get your cooldowns back up, and then keep spinning, right? So that's why we use Preparation and why Shadow Clone is also good. Now there is one weird quirk with Shadow Clone where for some reason sometimes if you try to re-snapshot your Dance of Knives too early, it gets bugged somehow. Like it won't. You'll press Concealment, you press Dance of Knives, and then you'll see that your Dance of Knives is not critting, right? And I don't know how that bug works. I can't replicate it. Sometimes it works perfectly. Who knows? But I recommend that after you Shadow Clone, you Dance of Knives normally for a bit, and then you can re-snapshot. Just wait a bit. 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. You'll play around it, and you'll find a sweet spot, right? I can't really tell you exactly how fast it is, but you'll get a feel for it. Something I guess I should mention is that if you can't find your aspect Star Shards, right? Because I personally didn't find it until level 45, 50 around there, right? Which is pretty damn late. There's some workarounds, right? With Shadow Imbuement, there's two aspects. Well, there's one aspect, but you might as well include the other one. There's Icy Alchemist, which creates a small freeze chill explosion around your hits, which helps with your AoE, right? Since you don't have the main source of AoE. And then you might as well also pair it with Toxic Alchemist, I think it's called, which makes it so you have a chance to poison enemies when you hit them with a skill which is Shadow Imbued. And as we said earlier, Dance of Nights is always Shadow Imbued. Now let's get into the good stuff. The moment you've been waiting for. How and when do we play Death Trap? When do we play the most broken build in the game? Well, we start playing it when we get, as mentioned before, Ice and Dark, Scoundrel Leather. Well, at least that's when I started playing it. Scoundrel Leather. You mostly get it at the same time because you start running some bosses, right? Once you do Health Diets, you get the mats. You can do some bosses, and you get both, honestly. And then you can start playing like that. It's fine. What you'll notice is that sometimes your Death Trap will be put into cooldown, and you will have no way to reset it. Because the way we reset our Death Trap and spam it, if it was with exposure. Well, basically, when we deal damage to an enemy affected by a trap skill, we have a chance to reduce its cooldown by 30%. So basically, if we proc this 3 times, cooldown reset. Good to go. But you need to be affected by a trap skill. So what if we no longer have an enemy affected by Death Trap and it's on cooldown? Well, that's it. That's it for you. You're not doing any damage, right? And it happened to me because keep in mind, right, at the start your gear is really bad. Maybe you miss your temperings, maybe you have, what happened to me is I figured I got my uniques. I figured, okay, I'm just gonna play this build. I'm gonna retemper my gear. I have quite a lot of tries for all my gear, and my gear is pretty good. Pretty good for a few hours in, and I missed all my tempers. I'm not kidding you. I missed all my tempers. And what happened to me is exactly that. I didn't have the cooldown. I didn't have the lucky hit chance to keep this going. And I needed an extra way, and I couldn't figure out how to unbrick my character essentially because I had already changed all my tempers. They were all like basically worthless. And I saw these gloves and I realized it actually had a lot of potential because at the end you can see cooldown is reduced by preparation, and we also use preparation to also further lower our cooldown, right, and keep it more consistent. Not only exposure. And so spending energy now reduce our ultimate cooldown. At first I tried with Barrage, right, to spend a bit more and proc preparation. That wasn't enough. Sometimes I was just left with no energy and Death Trap on cooldown, right? And when I added Poison Trap and the gloves, suddenly all the problems went away. And then when I added Beastful Boots to spend even more energy, because when you cast an ultimate skill, Death Trap is an ultimate skill, of course, your next core skill consumes all your energy, right? Which can be either Barrage or also Poison Trap because of Scoundrel's Leather, which makes your trap skills core skills, right? This finally made it so basically it's impossible to not be able to spam, right? And what I usually do now that my gear is better is you'll have to see, it depends on your gear level, but at the start I would spam Poison Trap, Barrage, and Death Trap, and that would make it so you never break, right? Eventually, on AoE, I drop Barrage, and I just do it Poison Trap and Death Trap. And then eventually when my gear got even a little bit better, you have to, feel it out. I only casted Poison Trap once, and then I spammed Death Trap. That's it. That's it. I just kept spamming. And on bosses, though, that doesn't work. You can't just cast this one and then spam Death Trap. You can't cast a Poison Trap and Death Trap. The best way to do bosses is you Poison Trap once, you spam Barrage, and Death Trap, you alternate, right? While you spam Concealment. That's what you do, basically. And as far as the rest of the gear goes, you want Death Trap cooldown CDR everywhere. Of course, everywhere. And then, here I missed. It's funny thing is, in theory, Stun Grenade damage should work for your damage because of Trickster aspect, which makes your Death Trap receive your Stun Grenade benefits, right? But it doesn't work. The additive damage does not work, but the good thing is that temper contains core skill and ultimate skill damage, and they both work, so you can hit one of both. I didn't hit any. I mean, you can see this amulet just sucks. But yeah, basically you want Death Trap on all slots here, and you want either ultimate damage or core skill damage. Then on your weapons, you want chance for Death Trap to deal double damage, again, ultimate damage or core skill damage, chance for Death Trap to deal double damage, and here again. And you don't want to masterwork this. I mean, I just hit it twice. I figured, okay, so I hit it once, whatever, let's keep going, and then hit it twice. I'm gonna stop and gonna refresh this, unless I get something better, but that's just generally it. And the aspects, you can find them in the guide, basically. But you get all the grenade aspects. See, grenade. I'm pretty sure I'm missing one grenade aspect. I'm gonna have to check. So I've been doing I've been doing absurd damage, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing some damage because I'm missing grenade aspect. I'll check later. But yeah, basically you get the grenade aspects, and then you get in order of importance. Well, your best aspect is a projector. You put this on your bow or crossbow, but bow's slightly better, but doesn't really matter. And then Vehement Sprawler, and then last would be Conceited. Conceited is the best aspect. I have Edgemaster because either I forgot to imprint or I didn't have Conceited at the time. But yeah, that's basically what you want. And then on the helmet, so initially I tried Call of the Nameless. I was too squishy, right? I just was too squishy, so I swapped to this helmet with all this armor, right? With even Juggernaut, because I don't need to evade, right? The huge benefit of this guy, of this build, what makes this build so damn OP is that every single time you press Death Trap, you reset dash charge. So let's say you're clearing, right? You're spamming Death Trap. By the time you finish the pack, you have 3 charges of dash back, and you have your shatter set back. So your mobility is insane. You just never need evade. You never evade because you're just moving at the speed of light. It's just dashing, 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 dash. And that's what makes it's a combination of the CC, the pull-in, and the damage, the crazy damage, and the crazy mobility. This build has it all. Right now, I guess because all the uniques, the only downside I would say is not the tankiest. I mean, I'm tanky enough, more than tanky enough, but it's not the tankiest. But later on, and you'll have to wait until the full Endgame guide, you'll see this build becomes the highest damage DPS in the game, probably by 10 to 20x. The most mobile build in the game. The build with the most CC, I don't know. I mean, it's up there. And it's immortal. Yeah, it will actually be immortal. But you'll see. You'll have to wait a few days for that one. As far as the Paragon goes, I mean, you can just check the guide. You know, it'll be in the description below. But, I mean, I guess I can show you now. If I can find it. You know, my brain's fried. I need to go to sleep. Basically, you grab versatility here, go this way, you go up here, grab no witness, put ambush. We basically skip most things. We just want to get, you know, all the goodies for now. Canny, grab Dance Macabre. Go here, we grab explosive, we grab deadly ambush, and then we grab devious, right? Cheap shot. And once we grab all the important stuff, all the glyphs, all the legendary nodes, we go for the life, the resistance. Unless they're really close, like I grabbed safeguard before I went for the glyph, but basically then you fill out with the life, the resistance, the DR. That's basically it. So anyways, guys, that's been it for the guide, and I hope you get it running soon. And I mean, you gotta make it count. You gotta make it count. I don't know how long this build will last. I don't know how long I'll slay this way. But you gotta have fun while you're at it. You know, this build is the most fun I've ever had playing Rogue, and I've had a lot of fun playing Rogue. So that's it for me, guys. See you next time.